I sat next to Tyler. I better make sure he didn't pick my pocket at lunch. And I'll tell you, I'm surprised that there are any women here. I cannot believe how fantastic Miss Fonda looks. Should be all men. Yes, as Chris said, I've had kidney disease about 7 years, and my introduction to kidney disease was very abrupt. It was a beautiful Saturday about 7 years ago, and I was at the end of a training program. I was preparing myself to climb Mount Rainier, which is a mountain in the Cascade Range up in Washington. And I took my loaded 40-pound backpack out to the Santa Cruz Mountains south of here, and I hiked 14 miles. The next day I got up and I ran 7 miles, and I remember, perhaps a little bit prematurely, thinking that I was possibly in the best shape of my life and that I was certainly ready for the climb. About a week later, I found myself in the emergency room. I was violently ill. I was 40 pounds heavier than I'd been the week before, and that's not including my backpack. That was just fluid weight. And I was barely able to breathe. I was having trouble breathing. I was hospitalized. I was biopsied, and I was diagnosed with a chronic kidney condition known as minimal change disease. It's a disease that normally afflicts small children, typically 4 to 5 years of age. It has no known cause, although I've had a few of my more cynical friends suggest it's what I deserve after a lifetime of healthy eating and regular exercise, non-smoker. I really hope they're wrong for all our sakes. So really, that was my departure from life as a healthy individual and sort of my introduction to chronic kidney disease. In the last 7 years, and this is all either due to the disease or because of medication side effects resulting from the disease, I've had colon cancer, which required complete removal of my entire colon. I have had my heart restarted on more occasions than I care to recount. I've spent hundreds of days so sick I couldn't get out of bed. And I've often said if corticosteroids acted like anabolic steroids, I would definitely be playing for the San Francisco Giants right now, instead of having a big face. But despite all this, I've always felt very, very fortunate in a couple key areas. And the first is I've always had just tremendous access to the very finest health care available, having doctors at both UCSF and at Stanford. Secondly, I've just had a tremendous support network of friends and family, an eminently patient and loving wife. And if you ever know anybody on steroids, you can't imagine the eminent patience it takes to be around them. And unfortunately, many, many thousands of people with chronic kidney disease and their families don't have these same advantages. And I want to stress that's why your presence here today is just so very important and so very much appreciated. When people ask me what I've learned from my illness and they're looking for this giant epiphany, I say to them, I say, if you have to get sick, well, if at all possible, don't get sick. And if you have to get sick, for God's sake, don't get kidney disease. And I know that sounds a lot like saying to somebody on their way to Vegas, just try not to lose. But I say it somewhat jokingly, but it really is estimated that about 80% of these diseases are preventable. And a big part of what the National Kidney Foundation does is to make sure that people, via education and targeting high-risk groups and really targeting the general population, people are better able to make lifestyle choices so they never have to contract these horrible diseases to begin with. It's very, very difficult to articulate the grinding, plodding nature of a chronic kidney disease, or unless you've had one or you've known somebody who's had one. Another major charter of the National Kidney Foundation is to provide an infrastructure, to provide these support mechanisms for people and their families that are going through these horrible diseases. Things like emergency financial assistance. I've talked to a lot of people who not only have lost their families, they've lost their homes, they've lost their families. Their lives have literally been destroyed because they didn't have the same advantages that I've had. They provide patient seminars, resources to help people learn and sort of cope with these horrible diseases. Another example, summer camps for children on dialysis, and I'm just naming a few, but the list goes on and on. They also provide funding for medical research to make sure that better treatments are available. In some cases, cures are available. So again, on behalf of myself and my family and thousands of people like us who have endured these diseases, I really want to thank you for your generosity today, for your support, your presence. I also want to thank Ms. Fonda, who incidentally I've had a crush on ever since I saw Cat Ballou back many years ago. Been waiting so long to say that, Jane. But seriously, I want to thank her for a wonderful book, a very inspiring book. I enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to her talk. And again, I want to thank you all.